What is up, Need for Speed Racers? It is I, your wheelman, Alex Cornut. I'm here today with the Lamborghini Diablo SV. We're banging it out in S-Class. It has got a great top speed. I do 220 on the Fishhook with it. It's a great car. I love it. Now, it's not super meta. I would say it's the upper range of the mid-class. So, pub stomper for sure. Lots of moving parts to really get you where you need to be. 4-speed transmission feels good, but we are running a single turbo, so it's not going to get you out of trouble. Like if you crash, it's kind of a momentum car, so you got to build that speed back up. I got some gameplay footage to show you guys. I think you'll like it. It's kind of special. It's the first time I think I've ever been in a lobby with part of the crew and randos, and we all picked Lamborghini products. And so it's a full Lamborghini playlist, and it's just a lot of fun. So let's dig into it. Let me show you what I've got here. Shout out to my man SlideQT. He's been pioneering this one. He really liked it. Nil and I have had one in the lab for quite some time, but Slide decided to pull it out and start working with it. So we made a few tweaks, and this is what we settled on. And it's quite good. I really like it. All right. So as we do every time we do any kind of build video for you guys, as of late, I want to show you the styling portion. There is a handful of styling you can do with it. It's got a couple of body kits. So you can do the Speed Hunters kit. You can do the Lamborghini, more of a GT3 kit. A lot of different parts you can put on. I'd say this is probably a 2 out of 3. Handful of different parts. You can do the Sleepy Eye, but then if you go to a different front bumper, different fenders, it'll take those close the lights, because then it goes to a hard style one. So there's just a lot of things you can do. I kept it like really OG styling, didn't do too many tweaks to it, just kind of changed the exhaust, changed that back bumper a little bit because I really liked it. As you can see inside, they did do the interior on this car pretty well. It's got a screen. I don't think it came from the factory with that back in the day, but overall it's pretty nice. And then you see that big ass roar in V12. The V12 isn't what we use for the build, but you still get to look at it in there. It's pretty. I do like this car. It just feels good going fast. Puts a smile on my face. I really like it. So let's get into the build. Now for the build on this one, the engine that you are going to use is the first motor. It is the 4.6 liter V8, 224 brake horsepower when we start, and we do that times about 4. For the parts, it's really easy. The first one is basic iron induction. Don't touch that. The rest is Elite Platinum. So then you're going to go with Elite Platinum ECU, Elite Platinum fuel system, Elite Platinum exhaust, and Elite Platinum single turbo. We tried this with the Screw. We tried this with the single turbo. We also tried it with the Sentry. If this one or this one doesn't work, we would then default to try the Roots or the Duals, but you'll see that the dual turbos bring us down a lot on the top speed. Slide said he tested with that, it didn't feel good. And then the Roots, kind of the same deal. So this is not a short track build. The car just doesn't really do well on the short track, even if you build it that way. So then it gives you the option, you can go with the Sentry, add a little more power, or go with the single turbo. I tried it with the Sentry. It's got a top speed for sure. I really think you could probably do like close to 230, but you'd have to have almost a perfect Fishhook run, and maybe even not have a good time because you're farming boost to make sure you get the most out of those straightaways. But this is actually a competitive Fishhook build. You'll hit 220 on the last straightaway, and I was doing like 215, 216 down the front straights. So it's like, it's got the power, got the legs. I enjoyed it. It was putting a smile on my face today. I really like it. Sport Bronze Nitrous, Elite Platinum Road Suspension, Super Gold Brakes, Elite Platinum Grip Tires. You definitely want to grip it and rip it. Sport Bronze Clutch, and Sport Bronze 4-speed transmission. The moment we start touching that transmission, it just takes it well out of the class. You can put it with the 6-speed, and it adds like almost 30 points to the car, but it says 215. With Redline Tech, this will do 220 in its current configuration. So run the 4-speed, let the game screw itself over. Like it says it's got this high top speed. Nah, if you know what you're doing, you know how to build, you can make these 4-speeds really go. This is one of those builds. You're going to want to run for sure the Elite Platinum differential. It's going to allow you to get the most out of that handling slider, so that way we can get it over to 80% grip. Auxiliaries, I run nitrous drift and nitrous grip. It allows me to do those micro drifts like my tutorial video I've got for you guys, and really get the most out of that boost to get the most out of my corners. For the handling, slide the slider all the way to the left, 80% grip, as much Beyonce as we can pull out of it over there to the left. Steering sensitivity, I ran it 3 clicks high this time to make it turn in a little sharper. It's a boat. Like, it's a bigger car, and it's got a little weight to it. It's not that it won't handle, because it will turn, but it doesn't turn, and it's not as agile as some of the other cars that we've got. So to account for that, I brought my steering sensitivity up a little bit, and I felt like it was pretty good that way. Just be aware going in, you guys, that it is going to turn a little wider than some of the other vehicles you probably have in the garage. But if you know that going into your corners and you're braking accordingly, it's fine. It really is a very sturdy car. Downforce, I ran it all the way low for all the gameplay footage that you see today. You can run it all the way high. If you feel like it's a little rowdy, you can do that to try to help yourself out a little bit. I don't think it really needs it myself. Running all the way low felt really good for me. But that being said, it's like we're running the turbo, so you don't really make peak power and torque until the top end of the RPM range. So it's a small window where you actually get that boost. So really, it didn't feel too bad. If you want to start deviating from this build a little bit, maybe put a roots or a screw in it and add a little more low end, you're probably going to want to run that all the way high for your downforce. Traction control off, and drift entry is brake tap. That's what I run for my micro drifts. That's going to give you the 1996 Lamborghini Diablo SV. Top speed 220, maybe 221 if you're really good on your trigger. It says 206, that's not true. 0 to 60 doesn't matter, quarter mile doesn't matter. 1016 on your horsepower and 1050 on your torque with this setup like this. Like I say, you can put a screw in it, make it more of a short track specialist if you wanted, but there's just so many other really good short track cars in S-Class that I would rather lean towards the top end and get that speed build going. It's pretty cool. You guys are kind of new to the channel. All you OGs, you know the game, but if you're new and you hear me say 0 to 60 doesn't matter, quarter mile doesn't matter, those stats are completely irrelevant in the game. The reason I say that is because they're giving you a figure that is based on a calculation that the game does. When you start the race, that is the only time you do a 0 to anything. All the other times, even if you crash, it gives you a rolling start. So 0 to 60 doesn't matter because at the start of the race, you're getting a perfect start anyway, and you've got all this extra boost for that start launch boost, that perfect start. And so your 0 to 60 is already out the window. So is your quarter mile stat. And both of those stats can be manipulated. I can give you a build that has an insane 0 to 60 number and an insane quarter mile number that will underperform versus other cars that have worse stats. Because the stats really do deceive. I've had cars that the 0 to 60 is worse because we added more gears. So now instead of going 0 to 60 in first gear, you go 0 to 60 in first and then you shift into second. And so because it adds the shift to that 0 to 60, it raises the time. But by adding that extra gear, it closes the gear ratios a little bit, gives you more opportunity to be in the right gear for each corner, and it makes the overall car a lot better for track racing. So get into the mental state of getting away from 0 to 60, get away from quarter mile stats, focus on horsepower, torque, and then make sure your top speed is correct for the class, and then test the car to make sure it actually achieves the numbers that it says. I've got an older video, it was a troll video that I did, where I find like 31 cars that all state they will do above 231 miles per hour, and not a single one of those cars would ever do 231 in any race, because they don't have enough horsepower and torque, but the transmission says it will, so the game says it will. So get away from the stats. A little bit of food for thought there. There's a lot of new people coming to the channel, so I want to try to educate you guys as much as I can. Other than that, car's good. I like it. Stay tuned for the gameplay footage. Shout out to Nil for always helping me in the lab with these cars. Shout out to Slide for bringing this one out of the lab, pioneering it, and putting it back in front of me to be like, hey, we should probably work on this. And I'm glad he did. Also, Cornut Crew, JCS, and Scorps helped me out with the gameplay footage today, so that's pretty cool. Guys, join the Discord if you're looking for the best group of Need for Speed racers around. That's us. Self-promotion, pat on the back. We're awesome. I know that. We've got a 900-person Discord, and we've got over 170 active members. And I mean active like they're posting daily, they're talking, they're in there, and they're running Copium series, so I know we're out here. Guys, thank you so much. Follow me on Kick. I don't stream on Twitch anymore. KICK. I'm over there. Alex Cornut. Look me up. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye. All right. I've got SlideQT, Lord JCS, and Scorps with me this morning. Me and Slide are running the Lambo. I know that JCS wanted to try out the Countach in S-Class. It's a little slow on the top end. It's a Lamborghini like playlist today, which is pretty sick. So we'll have fun with that. Got the little Huracante, if you will. Launch in second, give it all it's got. It's like the OG Lambos versus the new Lambos. Now us running that single turbo, we've got to work a little harder to catch up. Like that's why JCS and that new Countach was able to pull away. But we've got tons of power on what that Mercy's running by the looks of things. Dodge traffic everywhere except for there. I got a long ways to go. Looks like Slide died here in this corner. Looks like a couple of the guys died here. We're all right here, so it looks like everybody had traffic problems. So we're still in this 100%. Slide's right in front of me. Let's put this car on the big end. Let's go. You guys saw it bouncing there, rev banging at 211. I think with some redline tech, this will easily do 220. We'll see on the Fishhook when we get there, but it feels really good. I tried the Sentry build earlier, we were testing it. And it was alright, but it was really, really slow to get up to speed. Like third and fourth just felt eternal and sluggish, whereas this feels a lot better. I think this is, I mean, I'm only a little ways into this race, but I'm sitting here feeling like this is the move for you guys. That's why I picked up the gameplay footage. I started recording when I switched over to this because I had a feeling it was going to be really good. So we'll get a murder on Slide right there at the end. Totally premium. Not a crazy run. Obviously we crashed and whatnot, but that's not really a top speed track. But you saw that we got the car right on the big end and really had no problem with it. This is literally a Lamborghini playlist. I don't know that I've seen this big a variety in Lamborghinis in one playlist. This is kind of special. Obviously, like, I didn't communicate with Scorps or JCS on what car we were testing today. I just told them, hey, we're running some playlists. So the fact that they just jumped in their Lambos is kind of cool. I wonder if everybody will stay in them. So yeah, we got Countach, Mercy, Urus, obviously the Diablo. Now I did communicate with Sly because he's the one developing it with me today, doing some testing. Nil had built this long ago, and we were basically just doing a refresh on it just to see where we were at. And this is very similar to what we kind of already had in the lab, but at the end of the day, it's a sturdy little car. It's got what it needs. I like it a lot. It's a little slow to kind of pick up and get you going, but once you're going, oh man, it's a great momentum vehicle. I know that this car will have a lot of redline tech just based on how aggressively that RPM, like the RPMs bounce when it's on the big end. I mean, it really, when you're at the top end of the RPM range, it goes hard. Let's walk down that Countach. He's gonna wiggle. We're gonna wiggle a little bit with him. We're gonna micro drift in. And oh, we ruined Slide. Came up our inside there. That was kind of rough because we ended up not getting our 3-bar out of it. That's a good example of a drift line interacting with a grip line, and there's just something's got to give, right? So we just murdered our boy. It kind of threw off our race though, because we were walking down JCS in that new Countach. Now that Countach build doesn't have much of a top speed, so it's kind of a short track car. It's not bad, but it's definitely not. It doesn't have the same legs that this thing does. You'll see that we're walking on him real hard. It's all that extra power that we've got in this thing. Oh, that curb murdered us. Yeah, the move is you micro drift in to start making sure you're building that boost bar, and then you just hook a really good Tron turn at the apex, or late apex. You go pretty deep into the corner before you hook it. Oh, that's the first time I've seen it get rowdy like that on me. That was, come on, girl, come on. A little wild. So if we hadn't skill issued all over the place, we'd be in a far better shape right now. Should give us another bar there. There's a 2 bar. God, this thing's got some moves. I mean, it's really cruising. Yeah, I need to tighten up my line right there. We're getting really messed up on those curbs. Just costing us the race for sure. But as you guys saw, we were walking down Lord JCS, and he was in that new Countach, which that's a short track build, got plenty of power, lighter car. Had no problem walking away from everybody else. Obviously, we merged Slide in that first corner, but this is a very good pub stomper, and Smoke Show is really not this car's track. Like, this is a drift paradise. Smoke Show's got the record by a drift setup all day long. Let me show you what this looks like going into the Fishhook. I'm calling it right now. This thing will do 220 with this setup. If I don't skill issue all over the place, we'll see how it goes. I feel like I'm playing like a Lamborghini branded game, like just not even a Need for Speed, but just like all Lamborghini brands. They have enough cars they could do that. I mean, Porsche Unleashed was a Need for Speed one. Like, all right, yeah, it's bouncing pretty aggressively. Scorps is in that Urus. This man's a crazy man. Now, JCS used his boost a little early. We're going to use ours down this hill here. Get a nice long grip turn. There's another 3 bar. Oh yeah, this thing's got such long legs. Oh my goodness. Pretty sturdy over those hills. I saw 216 for a second there, I think. Maybe 215. Back down to 3rd. We're going to let it get a little more speed, then hit the bar. Shoot, this thing's fast. I love it. I love that. What did we hit? That was crazy. I didn't think we hit anything, you guys. I've never experienced anything like that before. I'm kind of surprised that we didn't have a 3 bar in waiting there. I waited until we got into 4th gear before I clicked that because I wanted to see how fast we can get it up to red line tech on the straight. Yeah, 220! Yeah, dude, I knew it. I knew this car could do it. That's awesome. It's fast. It is really fast. What a great little car. 217 is nothing crazy, but it's definitely not a bad time on the Fishhook. Car's pretty good, you guys. Give it a build. If you're looking for that old school muscle, that is that Italian muscle for sure. This thing grunts, man. It's a lot of fun. Pretty sturdy little car. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.